why Justin? What does he add to this roster?
Well, I mean, when we tried out Justin back on Luminosity, this was with Reynolds and Magic Bear,
Yeah.
and it was our number one option. But at the time, you guys got to understand that like Justin was everybody's number one option. I mean, that dude was trying out with. I mean, you want to see some teams that you would scrim with your tryouts, and there was like a 50-50 chance you'd be playing Justin because I mean, he was doing like 5 scrims a day. I mean, he was going crazy. He was trying to find the right team.
Hmm.
Um, you know, ultimately, he was our first choice as well, and he ended up opting for Shopify. So once that happened, it became more of like, okay, so that didn't happen. So how do we now get to like a player that we're comfortable with? We tried out JNAP Chicago, Cheese, but you know, JNAP Chicago, excellent players, like seriously excellent players, especially at the time too. But Cheese came in, and just the way I'm telling you, like the first scrim, I was just smiling because I mean he was calming in a scrim like it was RLCS, and like just constantly telling everybody everything's okay, joking throughout it, but making good plays too. I don't even know if we were winning that much. Seriously, I don't even know if we were winning that much, but it was just the way that he got MB to open up and he got Reddles to loosen up a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think that was a it was a huge sign because I very, very much care about buy-in.
Hmm.
And when you have a player that dedicated to Rocket League, like he just loves Rocket League. So a player like Cheese, you bring him onto your team, it infects the whole team because he loves Rocket League so much that like everybody's gonna start loving Rocket League that much. And once a team is that dedicated to their craft, I think that the sky's the limit at that point. So
Well, you kind of see that with the NBA too, where you get, it's a different situation, but like the Jimmy Butler trade, it gives this
yeah,
injection of life to a team that otherwise is kind of trending downhill, and you add cheese. I mean, that's why my partner and me, it's not like I'm not a cheese guy, but like anytime you see him on the screen, he is equal parts completely locked in, like he's
yeah,
defusing a bomb that's gonna blow up New York or something, and
yeah.
also like jovial and into it and a part of it. Like exactly what you would want from a young, raw, multiple pro. I guess anybody who can like get up to the top ranks playing on the Switch obviously really loves the game. So you
He
got that
stood
piece of
up
it.
too. Just know that he did not sit down. Like if you want to know another fact about Cheese, he used to stand up playing Rocket League on the Switch, which is it's just insane.
Get him a standing desk at the majors.
Bro, yeah, he's definitely a one of a kind player, and I think that like somebody with that type of energy that he comes into a team like you said, Jimmy Butler situation, um, it injects your team with a new like look on life. It makes you want to play the game a little bit more. It makes you want to train a little bit harder. So I think even like now you're talking about Justin. I think Justin coming into a situation, I'm telling you, dude, Cheese has got energy. So you come into a situation and you're like, hey, like what's going on? Cheese is not going to let you be down here. Cheese is going to bring you up here. So I think for Justin, it's been great as well.
Talking about the trade a little bit, the swap as it ended up being,
Yeah.
for fans like me who don't know any better and just are from the outside looking in, can you take me under the hood on the mechanics of making a trade like that happen? Is this Magic Bear sending a Discord DM to Justin? Is it the manager from Gen.G reaching out to Shopify's manager? Like, what is the connective tissue to make a trade like that even possible? And I know that you guys are up against kind of a time crunch to get this done just because Birmingham into split two, the trade window is very tight. So, what are some of like the high level mechanisms of making a trade like that happen?
I mean, it's difficult because, this wasn't, the roster move in general wasn't a move that we thought was going to happen. But, circumstances happened where it ended up, we had to make a move.
Hmm.
And I think once we understood we had to make a move, it was actually me. And I knew that Shopify was all free agents. And, one of the first people I thought of when I was like, all right, we have to make a move, I'm like, just give me Justin. So I messaged Justin and I was like, hey, can you get in a call? And I talked to him for like, man, like an hour and a half. And then from there, we set up a tryout. And, at this point, you go to your manager and you tell him, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the schedule that we're working around. We don't know what's final. We don't know what Justin's decision is. We don't know what he wants to do. Um, but I was pretty confident this time because, talking to Justin last time too, like, I think that he saw what we do and I think he was excited to be a part of it. Again, he chose a different route, but I think this time he was very, very set on it's hard to turn down a team that is number 3 in points in North America.
Yeah.
You got two bright stars on the team, so I think it's an easy decision. But at that point, you set it up through the right channels, and then those orgs get to talking, and then it just so happens that I think Shopify was really really interested in Reddles,
Hmm.
which they should be,
Yeah.
because I think Reddles provides exactly what that team needs. Um, so then at that point, you probably just work out a player swap, and I don't know too much about what goes on up there. I just coach, but I try to be as involved as possible.
I hear you. And I had posted a video kind of breaking down my thoughts on the swap, and where I ultimately landed is I think it's the optimal move for both rosters. But you keep this young core with Magic Bear and Cheese. You as the coach, what are you still trying to challenge them on to grow and improve and mature? Is it more intangible things off the field that you try and be an asset to them with? Or are you saying, hey, Cheese, you need to work on your backboard control? Like what's the where are you finding that balance in your coaching strategy?
I mean, that's a great question. I think that all coaches should be involved with their players and their growth off the field. I think is very very important because just talking about stuff on the field all the time, you're just talking about a dude playing a video game with a controller in his hand in front of a computer screen.
Yeah.
And I think that takes a mental toll that a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to be a pro. And you know, you might sit there and think, oh, it's easy to play Rocket League. Think about it. It is not. Because you got DDoSers running around. It's not easy to practice all the time. You have to really, really be dedicated. So I think, first and foremost, I always talk about relationships and building communication. That's always my number one priority. But, keeping this core together, I think the intangibles that I look for and I look for growth for them is more of I need to see more communication and leadership out of both of them because I know without Reddles there, I mean Reddles is he's a voice. Okay, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, he's an excellent leader, an excellent like in-game communicator. So they both have to take that next level up, and then it's still about bringing Justin into that fold too, where it's like before we talk about anything about the team, let's talk about how we're going to communicate like as a unit. Um, so that's been a lot of what we've been working on. But obviously, with Cheese and MB, they've known me for years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's still obviously out of game stuff that, Kev is very, very good at working with them on mechanical training plans, new strategies that he just thinks that, hey, like what if we did this and, getting that all corrected. And I think he runs a lot of that by Cheese too. So that's very, very good. But it's just, I mean, it's a lot. It's being what a coach and a team is. It's just being together, talking about things, understanding these are our strengths, these are our weaknesses. How can we make this a core part of our game? And, how can we do stuff out of the game that's going to improve our in-game stuff? So
Well,
all of
and
it.
and I even was thinking about the conversation I had recently with Nick, where he was talking about GK had, they completely flipped the switch, right? They did not look good in open 1 and 2, at least to their standards, and then they totally turned it around in open 3. And I was like, what was the secret sauce to that? And he said, transparently, I feel like I was doing a bit of overcoaching, which is kind of this weird balance where you're trying to, you guys run like a very professional ship where it's all very buttoned up. Is kind of the sentiment that I've gotten from the scene about Gen.G. Like you guys are regimented and take it seriously, and maybe you think that that's completely false and you're just over
It's
there.
funny.
But that balance has got to be difficult to strike, and you've been coaching for a while now. Not only coaching, but you and Reddles were tied together for the opposite or the positive half of 2.5 years. I think what close to 3. What do you appreciate most? What stood out most about Reddles' growth over that period of time as an individual? And also, how did he help you grow and improve as a coach?
Man, when I first got to Optic, I mean, Reddles was, I had Reddles and AJ, and then we took on a young gun Magic Bear, right? And Reddles and AJ were these players that I was looking at, and I remember the first scrim I was in with them, I was like, I mean, we are talking about a different game here
Dude,
because I
AJ
mean, it
was
just
so
looks so.
gross when you guys first got
It,
together with that.
it,
He was like the
that whole
best
team,
offensive option in North America that split. I don't think people remember. He was so nasty.
He was great. I mean, that he was really, really he was a catalyst for our team. And I think that, coming into a team like that, and I remember watching it was, Optic versus G2, and we were just scrimming. And I remember sitting there staring at the game, and I was like, and I told him I'm not going to coach for like the first like couple weeks. I just want to see how you guys play. But I was staring at the game, and truth be told, I was like, oh man, I'm lost. Like this is like you got everything looks good. Everybody's moving fast. Everybody's hitting the ball
You
right.
guys
Like what
nailed
am I
it.
going to
Yeah.
say? Right, right. Yeah, good job. And we could be losing. So I think Reynolds did a really really good job with me. I think he was patient with me and understanding that I was a young coach, like just a rookie coach really, and trying to he taught me a lot. I mean, dude, there's a lot of stuff that he taught me that without him I would have never come to. And then over time, I think that Reynolds needed growth. I think personally a little bit, but I think that he took a lot more leadership on with the team and being more like um, a conductor and a binding for the team because on that team, especially with AJ and MB, I think Reynolds needed to be a very very charismatic, outgoing person and he did a great job of that. So he took that leadership and still brought it into luminosity with Cheese, and he just became a great leader. Now in that time too, Kepert comes aboard, right, and now all of a sudden Reynolds becomes this mechanical player where I'm looking at him come off the ceiling, I'm looking at him get double resets and. Um, fault like I mean, when you talk about like he would get a reset and just not use it, he go for a bump instead, and I mean he became very very creative with his play. So that's credit to him for working on that and his discipline. So the growth was everywhere. I mean, just in general, I think that Reynolds is the type of player that if he puts his mind to something and he really this is true. If he thinks he can win and he really really thinks he can win, you're in trouble because the way that he's going to communicate and play, it's always going to be winning plays. It's going to be winning play after winning play after winning play, and it might not show up on the scoreboard. It might not show up in a shot or whatever, but he will make plays happen and he will not mess up very often.
Well,
So,
and the other thing with Reynolds, sorry if I interjected, but
no.
I feel like I always have to remind myself that the players in the game are as young as they are. These are kids
Yeah.
for the most part. Like, and Reynolds has been somebody who has been outstanding just in the community because of the content he creates, because of the teams that he was on. Like, people love the peeps, they love that SSG roster, and so I feel like he has been thrown into the fire at a temperature that a lot of other players don't really have to deal with. Like, there is a lot of venom towards Reynolds that comes out just generally. Like, there's some people who I think there's some Twitter accounts that are just like, I'm going to say Reynolds sucks at every opportunity that I can get. Like,
Oh, I know which one you're
I think
talking
that's
about.
all their
I know a
tweets,
couple of them.
you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
for him to have to mature into that makes sense, not only given the age, but also like the amount of focus and eyes that were put on him.
He's been I think that his transformation from when he was a 15-year-old shithead into what he is now is one of the craziest transformations because like you said he was thrown in the fire with peeps and everything and then he made YouTube. So he went into the fire and then was like, "All right, let me cook in here and let me figure out how I'm going to do this." And then he kept going with content. He was he's trash talking people. He's that's Reynolds' signature, right? But the most important thing about Reynolds that people love is that he's very, very genuine, and like when he shows his emotion, it's real. Like I'm telling you, like when he's yelling across stage or he's flipping off OG at the major, like when you touch him, it's like you think it's a show. No, no, he's locked into that moment. So I mean, I think one of the best parts about Reynolds is just his genuine emotion. I think that's why he's so polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that some people think it's just Reynolds being Reynolds, and I don't care. Like I don't care for all that. But the people that know that he just genuinely loves the game and he wants to go crazy like that, I mean, of course.
Well, and if I can give him his flowers on one more thing here, I think one of the big assets that he brought, because I mean, you talk about that initial optic team. AJ is a fairly reserved personality, especially on stage. It kind of seemed like part of the reason why the phase situation was a little odd, but I won't step into those waters. But then Magic Bear is kind of a young player who was muted and had to kind of find his personality. And I was talking recently, I think with Corelli, where one of the things that I really appreciated about, or I really, it was cool to see about Magic Bear at Birmingham was you could see that he seemed more comfortable and expressive in a way that I hadn't seen him in majors past. He kind of unwound a little bit. And I think Reddle's, not to say that he's LeBron with this metaphor that I'm going to use, but one of the things that Austin Reeves has talked about in how his career was able to flourish in the way that it has was that early on, LeBron trusted him and kind of bought into the Austin Reeves experience. And one of the things that's always resonated with me early on when Magic Bear came onto the team was Rettel saying, like, you guys wait, I believe in this guy. I think that he's going to be a top 10 player in the world. And I think that belief and that consistent messaging for your teammates goes a long way, right? You know, to kind of
It
give
does.
them the confidence and the resolve that they need. So there's not really a question attached to the end of that. But I don't know if you want to tie a bow on that piece of it.
No, I mean, Reynolds has always believed in Magic Bear to an extreme extent, and I think even for me, it was like we were all on the same page about Magic Bear. It was just like just give it a little time, and you would see flashes sometimes. I know that not a lot of other people see because you guys only get to see our matches, right? But we'd see it in scrims. I'd see it like when he'd play ranked. I'm like, dude, look at this kid move.